Alright, so part 4, I've actually figured out that it was a VirtualBox setting that was causing issues with being able to connect to the network. You want to use the Pro, otherwise it's just not really all that great. I'm going to go back and look at the settings of my HiQ Experimental and make sure that I've got the right stuff attached. Okay, experimentals, the first one, system disk, experiment 2 is the second one, and the third one, disk, B, where I got all my package store stuff. So it's going to boot from the one in which I have so far traded out Mesa, Glue, Glut, actually, more probably Library GL, Library Glut, Library Glue, and Library Careset, with ones I've built in package source. And it's booting. I'll just check the network. I think it's going to be okay because I have a different driver. Yeah, there you go. So when you set up your VirtualBox, pick the Intel Pro Desktop 1000 as the virtual adapter that you're using, hardware that's being provided for HiQ. If you don't pick the default one, I think it's a PC Fast or something like that, it's not fast. It doesn't work well at all. All right, let's pick on another library and see if it could, whether it's going to be safe to switch it out. Next one is Library Iconv. Pretty sure I've built this, so let's check it out. Again, all the package libraries are built here, so we have Iconv now. Of course, I'm not going to be able to replace the kernel. That would not have been built in package source, obviously. The source is available. I could try to build it if I wanted to, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in just finding obscure things out about this operating system, actually. So information will be out there and problems can be solved, basically. Alright, so we're going to live Iconv SO2, got that. This one seems to want to have a linker object. This one's a little bit smaller. Alright, you haven't crashed yet. Now this is different. That looks to be the original. What's doing that for? Maybe there's my first effect. Okay, so I want did this actually copy over? Alright, let's try to reboot. So I'll do reboot and I'll check network connectivity. And if it's something multimedia involved, I'll try some multimedia, whatever. Screen's the same. Let's check the web browser. Still got a connection. Let me bring over some silly multimedia I have over here. Let's see, Zombie Nation or something. So file, copy. I would like to be able to right click and paste here, but now is it? Again, all right. So it seems to be working. I haven't really replaced any of the media files yet, so let's just look at some of the stuff. It looks like it's older now. Live expat. Now, one thing that's going to be difficult for me to figure out is if there's a convergence effect. That is to say, if 3 libraries together are gone, that it'll cause a problem. But 2 are okay, you know. It'd be a little more difficult to sort that out. I'm not expecting this is going to go smoothly the entire way. It might. I might end up being surprised. But you just start replacing parts to the system, you know, who knows what's going to happen. So it's got 152, and I got a 160. So I'm actually going to have to get rid of that other one. I'll copy that too. What the hell? Alright, so you upgraded to expat 160 versus 152. Now, in some cases, it'll be a downgrade. It's just that the library versions are not even. But if I actually get to a point where I've pretty much replaced everything, or the more I get replaced on the base system, the more comfortable I'm going to be about not having unresolved symbols when I try to build stuff in package stores. Just, you know, because there won't be differences in symbol. You know, the new version of this has a different symbol than the old version. And then if the compiler insists on linking with boot system library and not the libraries in the build link or the libraries in boot home package library, then unresolved symbols are going to happen, and no one wants to build a bunch of stuff and have it break. Now, on the other hand, if packages are built in an environment where the libraries aren't the same as the libraries are in Haiku, as I was more or less goofing around about 4 videos ago, you know, with the lion doll. When the packages run that are built in an environment that's linking to different, unless that library actually exists and it's looking for the library where it's supposed to be, it's not going to run. But the good news about package source built binaries is that a lot of the time it wants to look in boot home package library. So I guess what I'm saying is that this, to develop in package source, you kind of have to do this, what I'm doing. So that way, no matter where the compiler decides to link its stuff to, it's going to come out with a library that will actually run in Haiku, so long as you have package source bootstrapped and the dependencies from package source installed and in the right place, which is boot home package library, at least for the ones that I've built. Then you won't have the unresolved symbols. And if on the odd case it does try to call a library that's boot system library, you do have the option to replace it. Hope is that that won't happen, but Alright, so now what we got here, we got a library VPX, and I don't, well, that's from 2013, isn't it? I don't even know if I've made that. It doesn't look familiar to me, but there's so many libraries in here. VO. No, I do actually have that, so I'm going to go ahead. And that was version 1. I got a 103, so I'm going to have to get rid of that 10 after I copy this in. Now it looks like it has affected do it again. Alright, so now I don't have a broken link in there. Let's try to reboot. So it's library VPX. I'm going to remember that. And now it seems some things are happening. Let's see. Let's restart the system. So library VPX, I guess, is something to be careful about. I don't know if it's really going to break anything. Let's see. I can still empty the trash. Can I surf the net? Yes, surf the net. Can I play multimedia? Now that is very interesting. So library VPX, there's something going on with that. It has something to do with the volume, and whatever way it's built in IQ is different than the way it's built in package source. So, okay, let's just go here and it's actually pointless to have, you know what? I'm going to have to copy in a shadow library. They've made this I'm wondering whether this would actually replace stuff. That's codec, right? Has something to do with, all right, so the question is, have we done something different with this? Let's just restart. That is to say, why would a generic build of library VPX yield a different result? Now, it could be that the media player wants library VPX to be called exactly 100 and not 106. Let's look. This is annoying. I would like to figure out how to get rid of that. But no, there's literally no volume control, nothing. Now, what I'm going to have to do here is I'm actually going to have to go into number 2 and then mount this system. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little I'm going to put the experimental 2 libraries in this directory. All because we have a file system that only runs if you have... Okay, let's see where I'm at with space here. Already at 1.2. Don't need that other one. Alright, let's start her up and let's copy stuff over to the other system, because number 2 doesn't reveal. The libraries just won't mount unless, of course, we have the package file system mounted. Isn't that great? Alright, so mount the other haiku, mount to read write. This is the one I'm using. This is the one that's mounted. The one I want to actually. Now go system, go home. Go to desktop. I'm just going to put my experiment, all the libraries that are here, because it only mounts if the system is running. So that way, if I want to restore something back, I'll have it available to me on the desktop, and I can just drop it in. But I'm also going to want to do a readelf, figure out what's the difference here. Why how is it? What's happening there? Maybe look in Haiku Porter. Is there something about the recipe? First of all, do we have it in Haiku Porter? Is there something about the recipe or the patches that cause it to link to a different library, to a different device? Did I mess up and not compile it to use the right audio stack? All things like that. Also, you can learn by this too. You figure out what it is you actually need to do to build things right. Alright, so I'm going to shut number 2 down, because I could actually... I'm not going to do binaries just yet. Alright, so experimental 2. And the reason why I can't keep these attached is it's just the way that it's only one disk per virtual machine and VirtualBox is the way it works. Storage. Alright, let's add. This is experimental. Choose existing disk. Experimental. Choose existing disk. There's number 2. So it won't boot, but it's available. Choose existing disk. GCC. Alright. Start her up. Now we're going to be back to using the we got probably 500 seconds left on this whole thing. Okay, so now I should have all the all the libraries here. Just make sure Zombie Nation's making no noise. What? That is the strangest thing. That is really strange. So now it's working. That icon's backwards, but okay. Why did it... Let's take a look. It was VP. Now let's just look and see what's going on with the actual ones that are on the other identical install. Build date was August 16, 2013 with a version of 1.00. This is a version of 103. Build date November 14th, which is 2 weeks after I started my second run. So now it's working. I'm not sure why it would need to be rebooted twice to work. Let's just see that again. Alright. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so far seemed like it was a problem, but it didn't end up being a problem. I don't see how the presence of that library on my desktop could that have actually solved the problem in a folder called Experimental 2 Libraries? I mean, I don't think anybody would ever anticipate there'd be a path like that to follow. Of course, if I delete these things, or I rename them. Put a couple zeros in front of it. Okay, let's try Zombie Nation again. That is the damnedest thing. I'm gonna restart again. And I am not in number 2. I'm in number 1, and number 1 does have. Remember I copied the libraries from number 1 over to number 2, so it's not. And now we're silent. So I think the presence of these libraries on my desktop is just anywhere. It somehow finds them. That's the only difference. That is different. Alright, let's sit here. I don't know if you caught that. Okay, so let's just go here. Let's make some noise here. Okay. It's saying it's a broken link. It's still doing it. You know what? It could have been the media server didn't start up immediately. Alright. So I have those 2 libraries renamed. Let's just restart again. Just in case there's some caching going. Who knows, right? It's absolutely quiet. Alright, so it takes, and I remember this. When I first, a long time ago, I was going to have a sound play when I first started the system. But I had to delay it for 30 seconds because it took 30... Okay, so there's no problem with that new library. It's just a matter of the server actually starting up. So I guess maybe I'll just stop right here. And maybe I'll do a part 5